You've heard the phrase, I wear my heart on my sleeve. Well, I kind of wear my penis on mine. Sex is more of a spectrum than straight, this is what male is, this is what female is. Because when you're born with an intersex variation, it's like a big research project, really, for me. It's like I'm finding out about my people that understand how I'm feeling, but at the same time, they haven't been through the same thing. I scare all the birds away. Usually, people don't know what intersex means, and what they think I'm saying is that I'm transgender, or that I have male and female genitalia, but that's not true. My name's Anick, I'm 23 and I'm intersex.
You can't tell someone is intersex just by looking at them. Intersex itself is an umbrella term used to describe people who are born with biological variations in their sex characteristics that don't fit typical male or female categories. So whilst we're told that people are either born male or female, there are actually many intersex variations that people can be born with too. These can affect chromosome patterns and hormones, as well as internal and external genitalia. And this occurs naturally in about 1.7% of the population. There is no one intersex story.
When I was born, the doctors could tell that there was something different about my body. I didn't look like the other boys or the other girls. Specifically, my genitals just didn't look like either. So my whole life until this point has been going through surgeries and hormone treatments to make my penis look and work like other males. I've lost count of how many doctors and nurses have seen me naked over the years. I mean, in the past few years alone, it's been over 100. I knew there was something different about me, but I didn't understand what. As a family, we felt like it was something that we couldn't share with anyone, both because of our culture and also society and doctors making us feel like it was something that shouldn't be shared. Because of that, I've lived a life feeling totally alone, paranoid of people finding out, and carrying the weight of this big secret around. Even to the point where when I turned 14, I decided it was time to take my own life. I always found it hard to make friends and, just have the kind of ordinary relationships that people have my age. I felt like I would never have an ordinary life, no matter what happened to me. I felt like I'd never be able to get married or have a family or anything like that. It wasn't until I was 18 that I figured out I had an intersex variation. Before that, I thought I just had a medical problem. I realised that I don't have to be ashamed of who I am or how I was born. Suddenly I realised that there were people out there like me, and that's when everything started to change for me. In a few months' time, I will be having what should be my final surgery. For the first time in my life, I'm hoping that I will feel confident to explore a relationship with someone and be able to live a life like other people my age. I wanted to document this journey to help myself and others understand what being intersex really means. I'm on my way to Copenhagen and I'm going to meet some people who were born intersex. So for me, this is going to be quite a big deal because it's the first time really that I'm in a position where I get to meet people who have similar experiences to me. We just landed in Copenhagen and it's a bit surreal because in about half an hour I'm going to be in a room with a bunch of people that have had similar life experiences to me. So right now, sitting in this car, I'm the odd one out, but when I go into this room for the first time in my life, I'm not going to be. It's the first time I've ever gone to a conference where people are all intersex. It's like a big research project, really, for me. It's like I'm finding out about my people. My people, that sounds weird, but yeah, that's what it feels like. This organisation which is running the conference is based all over Europe, so it's going to be lots of different kinds of nationalities all coming together, all with one purpose, to raise awareness about intersex and to share our experiences. I'm excited, but also really nervous about what it's going to be like. Last night was quite bittersweet. I really liked it. It was quite cool to be in a room with people who may know how I feel and know what I'm talking about. Everyone was just so unapologetically them. As weird as this may sound, within a few hours we were all talking about our genitals, so. But I think one of the things that I learned was that everyone has had such different experiences that I can't expect them to have the same opinions as me. And I think that's a bit hard for me right now. A high proportion of the people I spoke to yesterday found out they were intersex in the past few years, if that, so the people who are my age. And they find out that they've got a condition which is known as complete androgen insensitivity syndrome. So that means their chromosomes are XY, so they're male chromosomes, but the rest of their body looks completely female. So for me, it kind of felt like I'm with people that understand how I'm feeling, but at the same time, they haven't been through the same thing.
When I was in my early 20s, I found out that I had an intersex condition, they called it. And I'd had surgeries as a child, 9 of them, and then another one when I was 17.
Martin was the first intersex person I'd ever met back in London, and now we're both in Copenhagen attending this conference.
It was like different stages really. Each time I would read about it or see something online, I would have like various stages of shock, and then realizing that this is me. Understanding that it's not a condition, it's just a normal variation, and this is my story. Like finding out about this place was really important actually. Just to meet other people, because you can be involved intellectually but never meet people on a social level, you know?
Being in this room, seeing how different everyone is,
yeah,
it's just really hit home to me that actually I could actually know a lot more intersex people, I just don't know they're intersex.
exactly.
So I publicly came out like 5-6 weeks ago, and I never actually thought I could do that. But like, it's Russia, you don't know what to expect. But no, everyone actually been so supportive. Like my school teacher reached out to me, my guys I went to university with has reached out to me to tell me how badass and gorgeous I am. It's not what I expected, seriously, because people don't know about it and you never know which reaction you would get, but so far it's been great.
Yeah, I've had, I think, the same response. I didn't know people could be so accepting of something which I was hiding for so long.
Me neither. It was like, I can openly be who I am, and it would be okay with other people? What?
I think I was kind of just thinking, is this what it feels like to be a normal person? Because I'm around people that I don't have to explain myself around them, and there's just like some kind of familiar feeling. Before I came here, I didn't know at all what I wanted to get out of the event, but today I figured it out. So the common thing that I've experienced today is that there's such a lack of awareness that we even exist. So before I move on to start talking about the legal issues we have and the human rights issues, no one knows we exist. And that's the first hurdle. Here from my throne, in this kingdom that I roam. I was really hoping that I'd find a sense of community at this event, and for the most part I really have, but I'm having a little bit of a sad moment right now because I was just talking to a bunch of people who I thought would have similar views to me on love and relationships and similar experiences to me, but turns out that they basically were pretty unaffected by it until they realised they were intersex, whereas for me, with my condition, it was visible from birth. So I was always very, very self-conscious. When something is physically and visibly different, makes you avoid a lot of situations, whether it's in a nightclub or going swimming at school. I'd always feel like there was something wrong with me. But the people I spoke to today, a lot of them are female presenting, and they didn't find out until much later on that they were actually intersex. And it feels even more isolating when you think you're going to fit in, and for the most part you do, but you kind of still don't. It's the story of my life. It's kind of ironic, really, because I now feel like at some points I don't fit in as a male, I don't fit in as an intersex person, so what am I? Who am I? And it sucks. Yeah, it just sucks. I realised that my relationship experience isn't the only way that my story is different from other intersex people. I've been going through surgery since I was a baby, and I've always thought that this was something that was necessary. But I've met people whose childhood surgery has had a major negative impact on their adult lives. We've come to the Danish Parliament today to discuss these issues further.
Some of the people with variations in sex characteristics choose to describe themselves as intersex, some do not. And the important thing is that every single one of these people deserves and is entitled to have their human rights respected, regardless of how they define themselves and regardless of how the medical profession defines them.
A lot of what I experienced on this trip really hit home that we want the right to make decisions on our own bodies without anyone else making them for us. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. I didn't realise how many of the surgeries I've agreed to or I'm doing now are just purely cosmetic, and I wonder whether I am giving real consent in the past. Having these surgeries is definitely something I want to do as my choice, but meeting other people who don't want to do it, it's made me get out of my own head and see this as a wider thing. There is a whole community of people out there who have all these different views and opinions, and it's important to listen to them as well. I wanted to know more about the debate surrounding surgery, so back in London, I've got in touch with Pigeon from Chicago to find out more about their story.
Hello, how are you?
Hey, Pidge. So I've just come back from Copenhagen, and it's really got me thinking a lot about surgery. I just really want to know what your situation is.
Well, I had no consent ever. When I was a kid, they basically looked at my intersex body and was like, we're not going to let that little intersex kid be as they are. So they went in and castrated me. They did a vaginoplasty, and they also did a clitorectomy. So I had virtually no consent, especially when I was under the age of 4, because I probably couldn't even put a sentence together very well. I think you have to be like 18 here to consent. So it would have went through my mom, and they explained it to her, like, your kid won't be able to get married and have a normal sex life. Looking back, I'm like, that really wasn't consent. And they don't tell you about all the complications that can come from that.
So they focused on like the social things instead of focusing on whether you actually needed it medically?
Completely. It was all considered for social reasons, for this idea that I couldn't fit into society unless they did these completely medically unnecessary cosmetic surgeries. You are basically taking away your child's future ability to reproduce. And then also, if they try to give your kids hormones, we're basically allowing doctors to now force a gender assignment on your child. I would say, please let your child grow up as the intersex person they are, who is totally fine, and let them one day have autonomy over their bodies, whatever that is. And I think we should be pressuring doctors to stop perfecting surgeries for infants and start perfecting surgeries for intersex adults who may want them as adults, because adult bodies are very different than children's bodies.
We're on our way to the hospital now. Today could be my final surgery. So when I went to Copenhagen, I felt a bit on edge at times because I didn't know whether surgery is something I should talk about. But I think what I quickly learned is that everyone is okay with surgeries as long as it's your personal decision. And at the time I was like, do I definitely want this final surgery? Or is this something that people have made me feel like I need in order to have a happier life. And I guess the way I think about it now is I won't know unless I have the surgery. So I've got these lovely stockings. My favourite thing, which is the underwear. It's a nice little, really awkward getting them on. They are really hard, seriously. You'd think I'd be used to this by now. So over a year ago, they first took skin from my arm to create a phallus, which has kind of just been there. It's not done anything. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like a giant baby right now. So today is the final day I get to escape. It's been 13 days now. It took me a year to be able to actually use it to go to the toilet properly. And now I'm gonna get a prosthetic device fitted in, so I kind of feel like a cyborg. I've been told when I want to use it, they always say it like this. They're like, so when you want to use it, you're gonna have to do this thing where you pump it up. And the first time I heard this was when I was 15, sitting next to my mum. I was just really quiet, and my mum was like, so really it can just work any time, right? In any situation, you can just pump it up when you want to go. I'm like, that's enough now, thanks. At least I don't have performance or pressure issues because I'd pump it up myself. So I'm kind of excited. Like, if it wasn't my own body, I'd be like, whoa, this is so cool. Parts of me that are like, oh, this is really interesting. And other parts like, how are you going to explain that to someone when you're in a relationship? I've never had a real intimate relationship before, and I've always felt like I keep people at a distance. The thing is, once I have the surgery, everything in my life is going to be different. I'm finally going to have the closest thing to what other guys have, and maybe I'll be able to experience what other people do when they're my age, relationships, and that kind of stuff, which I've always avoided out of disgust of my own body and self-hatred. And I've really been working on getting over that. And for me, I really felt I needed the surgery in order to overcome how I felt about my body. I feel really proud of who I am and the ability to help other people to understand that surgery is a choice. I'm really looking forward to things that are happening in my future now, because I've really gotten to know so many people from Copenhagen and people through social media who have contacted me saying, I feel the same way about a lot of the things you talk about, and I wish more people were talking about intersex. I wish people knew it existed, because for some reason around the world, intersex people are taught that you shouldn't talk about this thing that's happening to you, this person you are. So I look and feel a bit of a mess, and that's because I'm still recovering from the surgery. It went well, apparently, but I'm in a lot of pain, which is probably normal. Things look pretty different down there now. I don't know how long it'll take me to get used to it. I think it's safe to say that this is probably one of the most awkward times that I've been in hospital. I have to keep my new friend at a certain in a certain position, and whenever I have people that have come to visit me, I just look really happy to see them, even when I'm not. The painkillers are slowly wearing off, and I woke up attached to this bottle of my own blood, almost ready to go home. And don't know if you can actually see that. It has to stay like that for a week. Things are going to be really awkward at home, especially because my parents are looking after me. I just got off the phone with my friend Magda, and we've got some really exciting news. We're going to be marching in the Pride in London March on Saturday the 7th of July. It's the first time we're going to have intersex people marching, and it's going to be pretty incredible. I'm like, ah. And yeah. And I have 3 missed calls. Yep, people are calling me because they're here. So since the last time we saw each other, I have had a wonderful month full of pain and repeated trips back to the hospital. I've had quite a lot of surgeries, but I've not experienced pain as quite severe as this. So there's been complications with my surgery that was supposed to be my last surgery, but turns out because there's been complications, I will now need to have another surgery to kind of fix what's gone wrong. I've had more ultrasound scans than any pregnant person I know. But today I'm trying to forget about all of that. Today is a historic day. It's the first time intersex people are going to be marching at Pride in London. When I went to Pride last year, I was on my own. I wore this t-shirt, it says intersex activist, and then on the back it says, can we talk about intersex? But people didn't really come up to me and talk about it, so I thought it's time to change that. I have arranged with my friend Sarah and Magda to meet about 26 other intersex people, and we don't actually know all of them, so we've got to meet some new faces today. I can't get my head around how much my life has changed in the past year. This time last year, I'd never met another intersex person. I went to Pride on my own and was basically looking for my intersex family but couldn't find anyone. But now this year, I am going with a whole group of intersex people, and it's going to be the first time in history that we're all getting together to march. And it's a celebration and it's a protest. It's so many different things for all the different people. A lot of the activists who have been doing this for quite a long time, they are focusing on stopping intersex genital mutilations, surgeries, and that are performed for cosmetic reasons on children, getting human rights issues for intersex people out there. For me, it's saying that the I doesn't stand for invisible, it stands for intersex.
Sometimes I feel like throwing my hands up in the air. I know I can count on you. Sometimes I feel like saying, Lord, I just don't care. But you've got the love I need to see me through. Sometimes it seems the going is just too rough, and things go wrong no matter what I do. Now and then it seems like a life is just too much. But you've got the love I need to see me through. When food is gone, you are my daily need.
People will look back at this and see what we did. Thank you so much for coming out.
I don't know if I'm like covered in sweat or tears or both, or I don't know. Oh, it's just unbelievable that this has happened. The fact that there are so many of us here today, and we're all different ages, we have different backgrounds, we come from different countries. Like, could you ask for a more inclusive day?